In the world of economics, there is a fundamental law. When the price of a product goes up, the demand for it usually goes down. It's the basic principle of supply and demand. But there is a hidden realm where this law doesn't just break, it reverses. A world where a 5-figure price tag doesn't deter a buyer, it attracts them. Welcome to the world of LVMH, Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton. This isn't just a conglomerate of 75 prestigious houses. It is a masterclass in the psychology of human desire. While the global economy faces turbulence, one man consistently rivals the world's tech titans for the title of the richest person on earth, Bernard Arnault. But how did a former construction engineer from northern France build an empire that sells nothing but status? Today, we are deconstructing the business blueprint of the ultimate luxury machine. To understand LVMH, you must first understand the wolf in Cashmere. Bernard Arnault didn't invent luxury, but he was the first to industrialize it. In the late 1980s, the luxury market was fragmented, small, family-owned boutiques struggling to survive in a modern world. Arnault saw something others didn't. Luxury was scalable. His first conquest? Boussac, a bankrupt textile group that happened to own a fading jewel called Christian Dior. Arnault didn't want the textiles. He wanted the Dior name. This became the blueprint for everything that followed. Identify a heritage brand with a soul, strip away the inefficiency, and inject massive capital and aggressive marketing. From the outside, it looks like art. From the inside, it's a calculated, cold-blooded financial conquest. This is the story of how heritage became global dominance. To understand why LVMH sits at the throne of the global market, we must look beyond the leather and the silk. We must look into the strange, often irrational mechanics of the human brain. In a standard economy, there is a fundamental law of gravity. When the price of a product rises, the demand for it usually falls. But in the ultra-luxury sector managed by Bernard Arnault, the laws of physics are reversed. This is the phenomenon of the Veblen good. Named after the economist Thorstein Veblen, these are products where a high price tag is not a barrier to entry. It is the primary reason for the demand. The price itself is the most important feature of the product because it signals inaccessibility. When you carry a Louis Vuitton bag or wear a Hublot watch, you aren't just paying for craftsmanship. You are buying a visible proof of your rank in the global social hierarchy. Arnault understood early on that he wasn't selling utility, he was selling distance. The distance between those who can afford the dream and those who can only watch it from the outside. But high prices are only one half of the equation. To maintain a legend over decades, you need the masterstroke of controlled scarcity. Have you ever wondered why certain iconic items are perpetually out of stock, despite LVMH being a multi-billion-dollar giant with massive production capabilities? It is a calculated psychological play. If an item is everywhere, it becomes a commodity. If it is hard to find, it becomes a trophy. This is why you will never see an LVMH brand running a clearance sale or offering a Black Friday discount. To discount a luxury item is to admit that the dream has a limit, that the magic can be bought for less. In fact, brands like Louis Vuitton are famously known to destroy unsold merchandise, rather than letting it hit the discount racks. By burning or shredding the surplus, they protect the perceived value of the brand at all costs. They don't want mere customers, they want disciples. Individuals who are willing to wait 6 months on a list just for the privilege of spending their capital. This creates a cycle of desire that never ends. The harder it is to get, the more the world wants it. This is not just retail. This is the architectural engineering of human longing. To build a monopoly on human desire, you cannot wait for brands to grow. You must hunt them. This is the third pillar of the business blueprint, the art of the hostile takeover. Bernard Arnault is not just a lover of art. He is a master of corporate warfare. In the late 1980s, during the chaotic merger of Moët Hennessy and Louis Vuitton, Arnault played a game of divide and conquer. He exploited the internal conflicts between the two families, slowly amassing shares until he stood at the top, forcing the original founders out. This earned him his nickname, the Wolf in Cashmere. But Arnault's strategy wasn't just about winning the war. It was about choosing the right battlefield. He looks for what he calls sleeping beauties, historic brands with centuries of heritage that have lost their way, lost their profitability, or lost their modern edge. Think of Fendi, Givenchy, Bulgari, and most recently, the record-breaking $15.8 billion acquisition of Tiffany and Company. The blueprint for these takeovers is surgically precise. First, LVMH identifies a brand with an unshakable brand equity, a name that resonates globally. Second, they inject massive amounts of capital to modernize the supply chain and verticalize the business. Third, they install a creative director who can create viral, modern moments while respecting the brand's history. It is a delicate balance between the ancient and the avant-garde. By centralizing the back end, sharing the same logistics, the same legal teams, and the same real estate negotiation power across all 75 brands, Arnault has created an ecosystem where it is nearly impossible for a standalone luxury brand to compete. This is the industrialization of prestige. When LVMH enters a room, they don't just want a seat at the table. They want to own the room, the table, and the building it stands in. If the first 3 steps of the business blueprint are about the body and the brain, the fourth step is about the soul. In the luxury world, it is not enough to be expensive. You must be legendary. This is the dream factor. Bernard Arnault once said that the goal of LVMH is to create products that are timeless yet modern. But how do you manufacture a dream? You do it through the aggressive management of status symbols. LVMH has mastered the art of cultural hijacking. They don't just wait for culture to happen, they insert themselves into the center of it. Consider their strategy with celebrity and influence. While mass-market brands use influences for reach, LVMH uses them for validation. When Louis Vuitton collaborates with a streetwear icon or puts a world-class athlete in their campaign, they aren't just selling a bag. They are capturing the cool of the moment and merging it with their century-old heritage. This creates a powerful psychological bridge. For the older generation, the brand represents tradition and stability. For the younger generation, it represents the cutting edge of culture. Furthermore, LVMH controls the environment of the sale with religious precision. Their flagship stores are not shops, they are cathedrals. Everything, the scent in the air, the lighting, the weight of the door handle, and the silence of the staff, is designed to make you feel like you are entering a sacred space. This is experiential marketing taken to its extreme. You aren't just buying a product, you are undergoing an initiation. By controlling every touchpoint of the customer journey, from the high-fashion runway show to the digital storefront, LVMH ensures that the perceived value always remains light years ahead of the manufacturing cost. They have successfully turned shopping into a form of modern worship, where the BB blueprint serves as the gospel of global status. While the world sees the glam of the runway, the true strength of the business blueprint lies in the shadows of the supply chain. This is the fifth pillar, total vertical integration. In a world where most companies outsource their production to the lowest bidder, LVMH does the exact opposite. They don't just sell the product, they own the source. When you drink a glass of Moët and Chandon, you are drinking from vineyards that LVMH has owned and nurtured for centuries. When you buy a leather bag from Loewe or Celine, the leather likely comes from a tannery owned by the group. By controlling the raw materials, Arnault ensures two things: absolute quality that cannot be replicated, and a financial fortress that is immune to middleman markups. But the control doesn't stop at production. LVMH is one of the world's most aggressive real estate players. They don't just rent space on luxury streets, they buy the buildings. Through their investment arms, they control the most prestigious soil in the world, from the Champs-Élysées in Paris to Fifth Avenue in New York. This gives them a double advantage. They never have to worry about rising rents, and they can effectively block their competitors from getting the best locations. Furthermore, by owning the distribution through retailers like Sephora and DFS, LVMH captures the profit at every single stage of the journey. From the farm to the factory, from the logistics to the boutique, and finally to the customer's hand, every cent stays within the empire. This is the ultimate financial moat. It is a closed-loop system of wealth that allows LVMH to maintain high margins even during global recessions. They haven't just built a brand, they have built a self-sustaining ecosystem that feeds on its own success. As we look toward the horizon, the question isn't whether LVMH will survive the future, but how it will redefine it. We are entering a new era where the definition of luxury is shifting from the physical to the digital. This is the final pillar of the business blueprint, future-proofing the legend. Bernard Arnault and his successors are already laying the groundwork for a world where your status isn't just measured by the watch on your wrist, but by the assets in your digital wallet. From blockchain-verified authenticity to high-fashion experiments in the metaverse, LVMH is ensuring that even in a virtual reality, the BB monogram remains the ultimate symbol of prestige. But the true lesson of LVMH isn't about expensive leather or rare diamonds. It is about the relentless pursuit of excellence and the cold, calculated execution of a long-term vision. Arnault didn't build this empire overnight. He built it by identifying the timeless, those rare elements of human culture that don't fade with trends, and protecting them with an ironclad business structure. The business blueprint of LVMH teaches us that in a world of fast fashion and temporary hype, true wealth is built on heritage, scarcity, and control. By owning the source, controlling the narrative, and engineering the dream, they have created something more than a company. They have created a financial superpower that turns the intangible, status, desire, and history, into the most stable currency on earth. As the global economy evolves, one thing remains certain. As long as humans have a drive for distinction, the machine of LVMH will be there to provide the blueprint for the dream. The question for you is, now that you have the blueprint, how will you navigate the world of wealth?